Welcome back to the Bootleg Studios of Rand Social. And we're going live in this edition to talk about some recent events that the title of this video you I'm talking about. Um, there's more people I could have listed in the title of this video, but you'll get the drift when I finish. And I'm doing this live because for anyone that watches my channel and might want to jump on here and might want to debate or have or really listen to what I have to say, because there's a lot of nonsense going on the internet. And I'm going to start where, to me, I'm going to begin where all of this started. And it began with Wack 100 and Big U going on $1 million worth of game. Now, this is the subject of Latinos and hip hop, and this is also the subject of uh, gang relations or so-called black and brown relations out in California, the Latino community's contribution to hip hop in New York City. And we're going to talk about all of these fools online calling themselves FBAs or Foundational Black Americans. Okay, all this new age stuff that just started yesterday. But let's start with, this is a long go around story. So let's start at the beginning. Big U and Wack 100. Okay, if you don't know who they are, just Google them or YouTube them. This is for people who know who they are, this video. They go on $1 million worth of game and start capping a little bit, talking about how many Mexican inmates they knocked out while they was locked up in a California penal system, in the prison system. And they said a number, something about 32, right? So then some Mexicans, some Southsiders or whatever you want to call them, made some videos basically sticking up for themselves and saying, hey, you capping, Big U and Wack 100, talking about you knocked out 32 Mexicans in one day in a prison yard or whatever, wherever they was fighting. So Adam 22 podcast, No Jumper, chops up a video of a California Mexican with a podcast calling Wack 100 a sellout coon. But they chopped it up to make it look like he was just calling him a black coon, like on some racist stuff, right? Oh, we over the 2 minute mark, so now we can speak a little bit more freely, okay, right? So Wack one, so Adam 22 crew, No Jumper, chops up this video. They put it out. They make this Mexican YouTuber look like a racist, real bad. They storm the station. They want to sit down with Adam 22, but he's not there. Anyway, Wack 100 makes another video saying he would never sign a Southsider, and he goes into the reason, and it really wasn't a racial reason. The reason was that they have their own politics amongst themselves, the Southsiders, and if he had an artist blow up, he was worried about the blowback from the Southsiders looking for compensation from that artist. So he said that would be the reason he wouldn't sign him. He said he would work with him, but he wouldn't sign him. Now, podcaster Bootleg Kev has Latino California rapper Swifty Blue on his podcast. He starts mentioning some of the things Wack 100 said. Swifty Blue says, I'm not signing to no blacks, as a counter response to Wack 100, based on prison politics of Southsiders not doing business with so-called blacks in the California prison system. So now, we have this tension brewing between so-called black and brown out west of California, based on Big Mouth Wack 100 and Big U. Now, Wack 100 is running around playing gangster, but that's another story. Now, let's get to how this somehow shifted into another West Coast dude, Tariq Nasheed. He uses this to jump off on Latinos and say they had nothing to do with hip hop. And Puerto Ricans had nothing to do with hip hop, specifically, and Jamaicans had nothing to do with hip hop. Now, Tariq Nasheed is a fake so-called ex-player, pimp, Mac, turned community activist, but he monetizes everything. He comes and goes. He makes no real difference in the community. But there's a whole lot of dumb people online following him and his rhetoric. And the latest of this rhetoric is called FBAs. We're foundational Black Americans, and we're tired of other ethnic groups stealing from us, blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, I'm 47 years old, and nobody I never talked to, ever been around, ever lived around, ever went to school with, ever talked about being a foundational Black American. Okay, this never existed. This rhetoric never existed. Okay, the same way we didn't grow up celebrating Juneteenth. I don't care what nobody say. I ain't know nobody grow up celebrating no Juneteenth. This was a recent development to me. I'm 47 years old. All right, just like this foundational Black American rhetoric is new to me. 47 years old, never heard this before. But a whole bunch of you bandwagon jumpers on the internet are like, yeah, this is our ancestry. I choose to adopt this name because it has something to do with my heritage. Well, let me tell you guys something. If you want to know your heritage, start with your parents and work your way back. As simple as that. It'll be a little harder if you were adopted. Maybe if your parents died and you never knew who they were, never knew their names, could never trace any history with them. Then, of course, now you have to rely on DNA kits and things like that to try to piece things together for yourself. But if you have living relatives that you can get a hold of, particularly your grandparents, great-grandparents, so on and so forth, to give you some family history, and then you go check court and courthouse records, municipal records of your family. You go back as far as you can and trace your bloodline. If people are alive around you, start talking to them and asking them questions. Sit down with your grandparents if they're alive. Sit down with your great-grandparents if they're alive, and ask them about their life and where they came from. And you'll get a better insight into who you are than trying to run behind some fake leader on the internet trying to tell you who you are. How is somebody, a stranger, that could be thousands of miles away from you, never met you, don't know what you look like, tell you your own family heritage and history? That's laughable. But that just goes to show you how gullible people are on the internet and how desperate people are always looking for some type of Christ, Messiah figure to run behind and follow. And you have a whole bunch of them on the internet now. I recently saw a video where the recently so-called banned Andrew Tate was on an episode of Big Brother years ago. Okay, had a totally different persona than who he is now. And this was maybe 2016, 2017, he was on Big Brother, something like that. 2018, maybe, I'm not sure. I think it was 2017. From then to now, he's a totally different person. Why? Because he's an actor. Okay? And why I named this video Algorithm Agents is because the internet is flooded with them. People that are put in position in front of your eyeballs to lead you down a certain road, to sell you a narrative, to get you off of your square, to get you to forget about your own damn life. Most of us have to get our own life in order, much less trying to go out here and rally behind a cause. The cause should be your own household, your own children, your own family, your own parents, your own grandparents. You start there. Charity starts in the home, and so does history, and so does education. Starts in the home, starts in the family. All right, you got a bunch of so-called black people running around hollering about their FBAs. All of a sudden, this just came out the blue. I don't get it. I always been a lone wolf leader. Do I have friends? Yes, I do. Do I have family I'm in contact with? Yes. But for the most part, I live my life alone and continue to do so. Why? Because I can form my own opinions about life without being heavily influenced, especially being influenced by foolish people. So I don't know how long I'm going to stay on here, right? But I just want to make the point of this. Don't be so easily fooled about these people online being put in front of you. And the operative word is put in front of you and propped up to lead you somewhere. Lead your spirit, lead your energy somewhere into darkness. They don't have any solutions. None of these charlatans that pop up online have any solutions for you. And I've observed and watched a whole bunch of them. And I have questions about all of them, even the ones who I think have a great message, like Charleston White. Why? Because he's associated with this guy named Rainwater, who was a rapper Mode 3's manager. This rapper Mode 3 was killed, who was a part of this record label called Empire Records. Empire Records also had King Von, uh, 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 a couple of other rappers. There were about 6 other rappers who died under this record label, Empire Records, right? Including Mode 3 out of Dallas, Texas. Mode 3's manager is Rainwater, one of Charleston White's main partners that he constantly talks about doing business with is Rainwater. So now this makes me question Charleston White. Why? Because I know rappers get assassinated, allegedly. They have insurance contracts put on their head when they sign. A lot of times they don't even realize they have this insurance contract on them for millions of dollars in case of their untimely demise. And a lot of them meet their untimely demise shortly after signing, or somebody close to them meets their untimely demise. I don't want to get too much into the conspiracy realm. It's there for you to dig into. I'm just going to talk about the obvious. People being propagated and put in front of you to spread disarray, confusion, and chaos amongst us. Those of us who know and recognize it immediately. I'm not even going to get into the whole debate again on whether Latinos had any part of creating hip hop. It's a stupid narrative and it's a divisive one. And it was put out there to just stir up the shit, cause dissension amongst melanated people, while these people profit while doing so. Okay, so you guys just need to be, I just want to drop this little gem on y'all. You want to know your family history? You want to know where you come from? You want to know who you are as a person in this country? Start with your family. Simple as that. Stop reaching. Stop reaching for somebody on the internet that don't know you, your family, nobody your family know, thinking he gonna give you an answer about your own damn heritage. How could he? Or how could she? If it's a female trying to tell you who you are. If you have family members that's alive, like I talk to my father almost every other day, I try to now, and I talk to him because he's providing answers to me that I never had, because we never really sat down and talked about a lot of things. Now that we're both older, I'm 47, my father's 67 or 68, We now are closer now than we ever been, and we can share certain things. And mostly, I want him sharing with me. I'm trying to learn from him, trying to learn my background, my heritage. Not that I don't know the bloodline, but the personalities within the bloodline, the stories about your grandfather, your great grandfather, your grandmother, your great grandmother, so on and so forth. Maybe different cousins or aunties in there sprinkled in. This is how you find out who you are, not by logging on to a computer and watching a charismatic figure push your buttons and pull on your heartstrings, and then ultimately tap into your mind and plant seeds of confusion there. All right. So I'm just enjoying a beautiful evening while this warm weather lasts out here in the backyard. Hit me up in the comment section. I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of y'all Tariq Nasheed followers, whole bunch of y'all fake FBAs are gonna hit me in the comment section and tell me how wrong I am. Blah 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 blah. This is our heritage. No, your heritage is your family. Start there. All right. This has been Rant Social. Just think about that for a moment. All right. Peace.